Samthony Giltano here, back with another album review. The internet's busiest album reviewer, transition. Now, today I will be talking about Earl Sweatshirt's new album, Feet of Clay. It dropped about a month ago, and it is a very interesting album. It consists of about 8 songs, and it comes out to a nice 15 minutes of length. Alright, Feet of Clay. It talks about a lot of things. It talks about Earl Sweatshirt and his battle with depression. It talks about the loss of his father. It talks about being a youth in America. It talks about the trials and tribulations that the black youth go through. It talks about just social problems as a whole. It's a very interesting concept for a rap album to take, and a very personal one at that. And it's very admirable from where I stand, because I think it's very interesting. It's not in the norm. It's not what you'll see on like the top charts. You're not going to see a Travis Scott or a Drake making songs about what he makes, because there's no money in that, not in the same way. So now that I've gotten the bass out of the way, it's time to talk about the title itself, Feet of Clay. Let me bring in the information on this one. Now, Feet of Clay. He first heard the saying from his mom. It was a religious term from the book of Daniel from a long, long time ago. It describes a king in the statues in a crumbling empire. He went on to discuss the album title, saying, he says, that shit is from the book of Daniel. We have the feet of clay right now. It's a crumbling empire, which felt very fitting. We posted up live from burning Rome. He's describing to the listeners a very human, that he is human and he is flawed. And no matter how much people worship him and how much people fanboy over him, he's describing that he is a man and he is no different. Because Feet of Clay, at its base term, is someone who is idolized, and it's just someone who's idolized and they just overlook the flaws that they have, because it's just like this grandiose idea that they have in their head of him. It's a fantastic title that ties in perfectly to the tone of the album. It's great. Alright, let's get down to business real quick. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a bit of the song, then I'm going to discuss what happens and how I picked apart the song in a reviewing manner. So, the first song is called 74. I'm going to play a snippet for you right now.
Your boy and all is coming out the teeth. Streets flooded like the pants weren't touching the sneak. They rain dancing on the snorted storm. On all accounts, paid the cost to see this far. I'm not on board.
Alright, that's enough of the song. So, basically, what I got from it, Earl, in the overarching theme of this song, describes the youth's attachment to crime, and as well as how, I guess, like, streets dictate the power and the trajectory of where the youth is heading. It's a circle, if you will. So when he says at a certain point, he goes, opposites attract opulence, this is the mud wouldn't stick. It showcases the poor people, or the people who are in the streets, are as people in the mud, and their determination to get out and search for that opulence. Opulence meaning like a point of wealth, you know. So all in all, it's an interesting track talking about him growing up and talking about what he saw growing up, as well as a weird, dark, hypnotic instrumental that culminates well to create this strange, warped track. Okay, time check. Alright, it's already almost 5 minutes in. I only showed one song, so I think that's what we're gonna end up rocking with, is just one. So I'm just going to sum up the whole album, because I figure that's the best course of action. So basically, from start to finish, it is a very introspective album looking at very outward problems. It's an interesting mix of sounds going from distorted like chord progression into instrumentals without any drums, into weird distorted vocals that you can barely hear that are pitched up in a way that sound like choir singing. It's very interesting altogether, and to make this full circle, you will never hear something as emotionally charged and as powerful coming from a top tier artist such as like a Drake or a Travis Scott. I'm bringing them up again because they're the biggest things in hip hop right now. They'll never make something like this because it doesn't sell the same way. People don't want to hear about this stuff because they like to feel good when they listen to music, which is understandable. But it's also, music is a way to express yourself, and it's a way to express what's going on in today's time. So I figured if today's time is just talking about money, what does that show? It's kind of bland. Back when rap started, it was a movement directed towards a message. And I think that's what Earl gets across very well, is that he's just a human and he's looking at things from a very human standpoint. And I applaud him for that. It is a great work of art, and it's a great place to jump in if you're looking to get experimental, if you're trying to think about something, or if you're just bored. You know, music is subjective. You might like it, you might hate it. Jump into Earl Sweatshirt's Feet of Clay. It's a great album. Samphony Giltano back at it again. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know. Was it a good review? I'm ready.